Captain Elias Walker stared at the strange invitation in his trembling hands. He was not a famous hero or a wise old leader. He was just a middle-ranking human diplomat on the cold, lonely space outpost called Delta 9. Most days, his job was boring, just long meetings, paperwork, and coffee. But today was different. The message on his screen was short and shocking. You are requested to appear before Her Majesty Queen Seralith of the Canary Empire. Immediate attendance required. Elias's heart pounded. The Canary were the most powerful alien empire in this part of the galaxy. Their queen was known for her wisdom and her mysterious ways. Why would she want to see a simple human like him? He quickly dressed in his best uniform, made sure his boots were clean, and hurried toward the royal ship docked outside. The royal guards, tall and silver-skinned, waited for him at the landing bay. Their golden eyes watched him closely, but they did not speak. Instead, they led him down glowing, crystal corridors. The walls of the alien ship shimmered with soft light, and Elias felt both amazed and small. He had heard stories about the Canary's advanced technology, but seeing it in person was something else. Finally, the guard stopped before a grand doorway. It opened silently, revealing a throne room like nothing Elias had ever imagined. Crystals hung from the ceiling, sparkling like stars. The floor was smooth and reflected everything above, making it seem as if he stood in the middle of the universe. At the far end of the hall sat Queen Seralith. She was tall and graceful, with skin that changed colors like the surface of a pearl. Her eyes were deep and old, as if they had seen centuries pass. Around her stood her advisors, all watching Elias with unreadable faces. Elias took a deep breath and walked forward. Every step echoed in the vast room. He bowed as he had practiced in the mirror so many times before. His voice was steady, but inside, he was nervous. Your Majesty, I am Captain Elias Walker, representative of the United Earth Coalition, he said, trying to sound confident. The Queen's lips curled into a gentle smile. She spoke, her voice musical yet strong. Welcome, human. I have heard much about your kind. Some say you are brave, others say you are reckless. I wonder, Captain Walker, which are you? Elias swallowed and answered honestly. Sometimes both, Your Majesty. It depends on the day. A soft laugh echoed through the hall. The Queen's advisors looked shocked, but Seralith seemed pleased. She stood up, her gown flowing like water. I have summoned you here for a reason that will surprise you. But first, let us talk. Tell me, Captain Walker, what do you dream of when you stare at the stars? Elias looked up at the shining crystals above, thinking about home, hope, and the unknown. For the first time, he felt that maybe, just maybe, today was the start of something much bigger than himself. Queen Seralith led Captain Elias Walker to a smaller, quieter room behind the throne. The walls here glowed with a soft blue light, and the air smelled like strange flowers. There were no guards inside, just the Queen and Elias, facing each other. She motioned for him to sit on a smooth crystal chair. Elias felt nervous, but he sat down, watching her every move. For a moment, Seralith said nothing. She just looked at him with her calm, shining eyes. Finally, she spoke, her voice gentle but firm. Captain Walker, do you know why I have asked for you today? Elias shook his head honestly. No, Your Majesty. I thought maybe you wanted to talk about peace between our worlds, or maybe you needed help with something. The Queen smiled again, but this time it was a sad smile. Many people come to me for help or advice, Captain. But today, I ask you something very different. I have watched your people, and I have watched you. I see a fire inside humans, something my own people are starting to lose. Elias was surprised. A fire. Yes, she said. Your courage, your hope, your stubborn will to keep trying even when things are hard. The Canary used to have this spirit, but now we are tired. We have ruled the stars for many years, but we are afraid to change. My advisors tell me to be careful, to follow the old ways. But I want something new. Elias listened, his curiosity growing. He still did not understand what she wanted from him. The queen took a deep breath, as if she was about to jump off a cliff. "Captain Walker," she said, her voice steady, "I am ready to give up my throne. I will leave my power behind. If you agree to become my partner, will you marry me, human?" Elias felt like the floor had dropped away. He stared at the queen, not sure if he had heard her correctly. Did she really just ask him to marry her? He remembered all the warnings from Earth about never getting too close to alien rulers, about staying out of politics. But now, the most powerful woman in the galaxy was asking him for his hand in marriage. He cleared his throat, trying to find the right words. "Your Majesty, this is a big surprise. I'm just a simple diplomat. Why would you want me?" The queen looked into his eyes. "Because you are human. Because you are brave enough to speak the truth. Because you do not hide your heart. I believe together we can start something new, something better for both our people." Elias sat in silence, his mind racing. He thought about Earth, about peace, about what this marriage could mean. He saw the hope in the queen's eyes, and he wondered if maybe, just maybe, this was the chance to change the galaxy forever. After the queen's surprising offer, Captain Elias Walker felt as if he was walking in a dream. He left the quiet royal room and returned to his small guest quarters on the Canary ship. He stared out of the window at the swirling stars, still unable to believe what had happened. News of the queen's proposal spread quickly, as if the stars themselves were whispering. Within hours, messages came from Earth and from the Canary capital. Everyone wanted to know the truth. Did the queen really ask a human to marry her? Was Elias going to say yes? Some messages were friendly, some were full of warning. The next morning, Elias received a call from the United Earth Coalition. The human leaders' faces appeared on his screen. They looked worried and excited at the same time. "Captain Walker," said the president, "this is bigger than any peace treaty. If you marry the queen, it could bring a new age of friendship between humans and the Canary. But it could also cause anger and fear. Some people will say you are betraying your own kind. Others will want to use you for their own power." Elias nodded, feeling the heavy weight of their words. He knew this was not just about love. It was about history, politics, and the fate of two great peoples. That same day, a group of Canary advisors visited the queen. They wore tall, shining helmets and spoke with sharp voices. "Your Majesty," one advisor said, "you cannot marry a human. It goes against our oldest laws. The people will not accept it. Humans are brave, yes, but they are also unpredictable. They bring trouble wherever they go." The queen stood tall and did not look away. "We must change, or we will fade away. I will not rule with fear. I choose to hope." Still, the Canary nobles were angry. Some sent secret messages, planning how to stop the queen. Others spread rumors among the Canary people, saying humans wanted to steal their power. On Earth, many people were just as unsure. Some celebrated in the streets, dreaming of a new era of peace. Others shouted angrily on the news, saying humans should never trust an alien throne. Elias watched all of this unfold and felt alone, caught between two worlds. He received messages from his family back on Earth. His mother was afraid for him. His sister joked, "Does this mean I get to be a princess?" But her joke could not hide her worry. At night, Elias met with Queen Cerilith again. She looked tired but determined. "I know this is hard," she said. "If you do not wish to marry me, I will not force you. But if you do, we must stand together. There will be many tests ahead." Elias took a deep breath. He realized that whatever he chose, nothing would ever be the same again. But as he looked at the queen, he thought maybe, just maybe, he was ready to try. The next morning, Elias Walker was woken early by a loud knock on his door. He opened it to find two Canary guards and an old Canary woman. She wore a robe covered in golden symbols, and held a staff made of glass. "Captain Walker," she said in a deep, serious voice, "I am High Elder Tresson. The Queen has chosen you, but the Canary law demands you must prove yourself worthy. Today, you will face the trials." Elias felt his stomach twist. He had heard about the ancient Canary trials. They were not games or simple tests. They were made to challenge the mind, body, and heart of any who wished to join the royal family. He did not know what to expect. He followed the elder and guards down long crystal corridors to a huge round chamber. Canary nobles and citizens watched from above, whispering and pointing. In the center, Queen Serelith stood, her eyes soft but strong. She spoke for all to hear. "Today, Captain Walker will face 3 trials: courage, wisdom, and heart. Only those who pass may stand by the Queen's side." Elias nodded, trying not to show his fear. The first trial was the trial of courage. The floor opened, and a tall cage rose up. Inside were robotic beasts, designed to test bravery and skill. Elias was given a simple shield and staff. As the beasts charged, their eyes glowing, Elias remembered his military training. He ducked, blocked, and dodged with quick movements. He did not attack to harm. Instead, he looked for a way to shut down the robots. He noticed a blinking light on one of their backs and used his staff to press it. The beast froze. Elias smiled and quickly did the same to the others, ending the trial without violence. The Canary watchers murmured in surprise. Most expected blood and battle, but Elias had chosen a different way. Next came the trial of wisdom. Elias was led into a small room filled with alien puzzles and riddles. He had to solve a crystal maze, answer questions about Canary history, and guess the meaning of old proverbs. Some he solved quickly, others he guessed by thinking like a human. Sometimes the answer was simple, sometimes he trusted his heart. The last trial was the trial of heart. Elias was shown a hologram of Earth and Canary people in trouble. He was told he could only save one group. But instead, Elias refused to choose. "If we work together, we can save both," he said. He explained his plan clearly, showing how both groups could escape if they helped each other. The judges looked at each other in surprise and nodded in respect. At the end of the trials, Elias stood before the Queen and her people, breathing hard but proud. Queen Serelith smiled and announced, "Captain Walker has passed the trials, not just with strength, but with heart and hope. He is worthy to stand with me." The crowd cheered, and Elias felt the first warmth of true hope. Maybe, just maybe, he could belong here. While Elias rested after the difficult trials, trouble was growing in the shadows of the Canary Palace. Not everyone was happy about the Queen's choice. Some of her oldest advisors met in secret rooms, whispering about the danger of a human joining their royal family. At the center of these whispers was Lord Veyran, a powerful noble with sharp eyes and a colder heart. He had wanted his own daughter to be queen one day. He believed humans were weak and would ruin Canary traditions. In his dark office, he met with a group of loyal followers. "This Captain Walker must not become our queen's consort," Veyran hissed. "He is an outsider. He does not understand us. We must act before it is too late." One of his followers, a young noble named Zira, looked worried. "But Lord Veyran, the people are starting to like him." The trials were watched by millions. Many saw courage and kindness in the human. Veyran narrowed his eyes. "That is exactly why he is dangerous. He wins hearts too quickly. If we wait, we lose everything. We must find a way to break the bond between the Queen and this human, before the wedding day." At the same time, back on Earth, a different kind of trouble was rising. Some leaders were afraid that Elias would choose the Canary over his own people. They worried humans might become second-class citizens in a galaxy ruled by alien laws. A group of politicians, calling themselves the Earth Guardians, held secret meetings. "We must remind Captain Walker where his loyalties should be," said their leader, a man named Senator Hale. If he forgets, we will lose our place among the stars. We must be ready to act if this union turns against us. News reporters and social media on both planets filled with rumors. Some people called Elias a hero, others called him a traitor. Some said the Queen was using magic to control them. Others believed Elias was planning to take over the Canary throne for humans. In this storm of rumors, truth was hard to find. Elias and Queen Serylith met in the palace gardens to escape the noise. They walked together under the glowing crystal trees, speaking softly. "I knew it would be difficult," Serylith said, her voice gentle but sad. "Change always makes people afraid. Some will fight to keep things the same, even if it means breaking their own hearts." Elias squeezed her hand. "On Earth, I was just another diplomat. Here, everything I do changes the galaxy. It's a heavy weight." Serylith nodded. "We must trust each other. There are dangers we cannot yet see. But if we stand together, maybe we can make something beautiful out of all this chaos." As the sun set over the alien city, both the Queen and her human consort knew that their love and their hope for peace would be tested by the secret enemies gathering in the dark. Days passed, and Captain Elias Walker and Queen Serylith grew closer. They spent more time together, learning about each other's worlds, hopes, and fears. It was like a dance, two very different beings trying to find a rhythm that would bring them together. One afternoon, they walked through the gardens of the Canary Palace. The crystal trees sparkled under the soft light, and strange flowers filled the air with sweet scents. Serylith looked at Elias with a smile. "Tell me, Captain," she said, "what do humans dream of when they look up at the stars?" Elias thought for a moment. "I think many humans dream of freedom, the freedom to explore, to be themselves, and to find something new. Sometimes they dream of home, too, but mostly they want hope." Serylith nodded slowly. "That is something I wish for my people as well." They talked for hours, sharing stories. Elias told her about Earth's oceans, mountains, and the simple joy of a warm fire on a cold night. Serylith described the Canary's ancient libraries, their endless space fleets, and the traditions passed down for thousands of years. Their differences were great, but so were their connections. Elias found himself admiring her courage and wisdom. Serylith saw in him the spark of human spirit she had longed for. As their bond grew, so did the challenges. The palace buzzed with tension. Some Canary nobles watched them with suspicion. Some humans doubted Elias's loyalty. But the two of them chose to focus on each other, building trust step by step. One evening, during a quiet dinner, Serylith surprised Elias with a small gift. It was a delicate crystal pendant, shaped like a star. "This belonged to my mother," she said softly. "It symbolizes hope and unity. I want you to have it, to remind you that we are stronger together." Elias accepted the gift with gratitude. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I will wear it always." Their moments of peace were precious but rare. Secret meetings in shadowed rooms hinted at growing dangers. Both knew the path ahead would be difficult. Yet in those quiet times, the human and the alien found something rare, a friendship that could change worlds. As they stood side by side, looking out at the galaxy beyond the palace walls, Elias felt something he had never known before, a hope that despite all odds, they could build a future together. The day of Queen Serylith's abdication and the announcement of her engagement to Captain Elias Walker was finally here. The grand hall of the Canary Palace was filled with nobles, diplomats, and citizens from many worlds. Everyone waited in silence, eyes fixed on the shining crystal stage where history would be made. Elias stood beside Serylith, feeling a mix of pride and nervousness. The queen looked radiant in her flowing gown, her skin shimmering with soft colors. Around them, the air buzzed with excitement, but also tension. Some guests whispered doubts, while others watched with hope. Serylith stepped forward and raised her hand. "People of the Canary Empire, and friends from distant worlds," she began, her voice strong and clear. "Today, I lay down my throne, not because I am weak, but because I believe in a future where we stand together, not above one another. Captain Elias Walker will be my partner, my consort, and my hope." The crowd erupted into applause, but not all cheers were true. In the shadows, Lord Varen and his loyal followers watched with dark eyes. They had planned this moment carefully, until now. Suddenly, the great crystal doors at the back of the hall slammed open. Armed soldiers stormed inside, led by Varen himself. "Stop this madness," he shouted. "This union is a betrayal to our people." Chaos exploded. Some nobles stood in shock. Others drew weapons to protect Serelith and Elias. The Queen's guards rushed forward, but the rebels were many and fierce. Elias felt a sharp pain in his side. A blade had found him. He stumbled but did not fall. Serelith moved quickly, placing herself between Elias and the attackers. Her eyes glowed with strange power as she raised her hands. A wave of energy pushed the rebels back. "Leave now, or face the full strength of the Canary Empire," she warned. The soldiers hesitated. Varen glared, but he knew he was beaten. For now, he signaled a retreat, disappearing into the corridors. Elias clutched his side, blood warm and sticky. Serelith rushed to his side, her face pale but determined. "Are you hurt badly?" "I'll live," Elias said through gritted teeth. "This only shows how strong their fear is." The hall was quiet again, except for whispers of shock and fear. The wedding was not over, but everything had changed. Later, in a small chamber, Serelith and Elias sat together, healing wounds both physical and political. "The rebels want to divide us," Serelith said softly, "but I will not let their hatred win." Elias looked at her with new respect. "We have faced fire together. If we survive this, we can face anything." She smiled. Together. Outside, the galaxy waited, watching the two who dared to break old rules and dream of a new world. After the attack, the palace was on high alert. Soldiers patrolled every corridor, and guards checked every visitor's face. But Captain Elias Walker and Queen Serelith knew that danger was not only outside. They had enemies within too. Elias sat in the war room, staring at a large map of the Canary Empire. Red marks showed places where rebels still gathered, threatening the fragile peace. His side ached where he had been stabbed, but his spirit was stronger than ever. "We can't just fight fire with fire," Elias said to the Queen's generals. "We need a plan that shows our strength and our hope." Serelith nodded. "Your people's spirit is different from ours. We have power, but sometimes we forget why we fight. You remind us." Together, Elias and Serelith gathered their loyal followers, Canary warriors, human diplomats, and even some former rebels who believed in peace. They trained day and night, sharing skills and stories. Elias taught them human tactics, small groups working together, using quick thinking instead of just brute strength. The rebels thought the human was weak. They thought the Queen's choice would bring chaos, but Elias was about to prove them wrong. One night, Elias led a small team on a daring mission to take back an important outpost held by rebels. They moved silently through dark forests and jagged rocks. When the time was right, they struck, not with overwhelming force, but with clever traps and teamwork. The rebels were confused. They did not expect such smart tactics. Elias's team captured the outpost quickly, with few injuries. Back at the palace, news of the victory spread like wildfire. People began to believe again. They saw that humans were not just fragile creatures. They were fighters, thinkers, survivors. Elias also made speeches, reminding everyone that the future was not about old grudges or fear. "We are stronger together," he said. "This galaxy needs all of us, humans and Canary alike, to build a new way." The Queen stood beside him, her eyes shining with pride. "He shows us what hope looks like," she told her people. "A hope that can never be broken." Still, Elias knew the fight was far from over. The rebels were powerful, and some enemies wore the masks of friends. But the human spirit had been unleashed, and it was a force that could not be stopped. That night, as Elias looked out over the city from the palace balcony, he felt something new. It was not just fear or doubt. It was a fire inside him, burning brighter than ever. The fire of hope, courage, and the promise of a better tomorrow. And with the queen by his side, he was ready to face whatever came next. The palace was quiet after the storm of rebellion, but the air still carried tension. Queen Serylith sat on her throne one last time, her face calm but serious. She had made her decision. Captain Elias Walker stood beside her, still healing but stronger than ever. The time had come for the final choice, the moment that would change everything. Serylith looked out at the gathered crowd of nobles, citizens, and diplomats from many worlds. Today, she began, I will lay down my throne, as I promised. The Canary Empire will no longer be ruled by one person alone. Gasps and whispers spread through the hall. Some faces showed shock, others hope. She continued, this is not the end of our strength. It is the beginning of a new way, a shared rule, a covenant between our peoples. Turning to Elias, she said, Captain Walker, you have shown courage, wisdom, and heart. You have passed the trials and fought beside me. Now, I offer you a choice. You may return to Earth and your life as a diplomat, or you may accept to be my partner and walk this new path with me. Elias felt the weight of the moment. His mind flashed to Earth, his family, his friends, his simple life. But he also saw the shining eyes of the Canary people who believed in him. He thought of Serylith, strong and hopeful beside him. He took a deep breath and said, Your Majesty, I choose to stay. I will stand with you, not just as a partner, but as an equal. Together, we will build this new future. The hall burst into applause. Some nobles looked worried, but most people cheered, ready for change. Serylith smiled, the glow of hope lighting her face. Then it is settled. This is the first day of a new covenant, a promise that we will rule together, share our strengths, and respect our differences. Over the next weeks, new laws were written. The old ways of power and control began to fade. Humans and Canary worked side by side, planning councils and assemblies that included voices from many worlds. It was not easy. Some old traditions fought to stay alive, and not everyone trusted the new path. But Elias and Serylith were patient. They listened, they learned, and they led with courage. One evening, as the two stood together watching the twin moons rise over the palace, Elias turned to the queen. Do you think our people will truly accept this? He asked. Serylith smiled softly. Change is hard, but hope is stronger. If we keep walking forward, together, there is no limit to what we can achieve. Elias nodded, feeling a new fire inside him. The fire of promise, of trust, and of love. The galaxy was watching, waiting for this new covenant to grow, and Elias and Serylith were ready to lead the way. The day of the wedding had finally come. The great hall of the Canary Palace was decorated with glowing crystals and bright flowers from many worlds. People from across the galaxy gathered to witness a moment no one thought possible. A human and the alien queen joining in marriage. Captain Elias Walker stood tall, wearing a simple but elegant suit that mixed human and Canary styles. Queen Serylith looked radiant, her skin shimmering softly like the colors of the dawn. The two stood hand in hand, ready to face their future together. The crowd was quiet as the ceremony began. A wise elder from the Canary spoke of unity, respect, and hope. He told stories of old struggles and new beginnings. Then it was Elias and Serylith's turn. Serylith looked into Elias's eyes and said, If I lay down my throne, will you marry me, human? Elias smiled, his heart full. I will, he answered. Not because of a throne, but because I believe in us, our hope, our future, and our love. The elder declared them partners and leaders of a new age. The crowd cheered, some with tears in their eyes. The union was not just a marriage. It was a symbol, a promise that two very different peoples could come together to build a better galaxy. After the ceremony, Elias and Cyrillith stood on the palace balcony. Below, thousands watched and celebrated. People from many planets danced, sang, and shared stories. It was a festival of unity. Elias felt the weight of what had happened. From a simple diplomat to a prince beside a queen, his life had changed forever. But more than that, he felt proud to be part of something greater than himself. Cyrillith turned to him. The road ahead will not be easy. There will be challenges, enemies, and doubts. But together, we will face them all. Elias nodded. With you by my side, I believe we can do anything. As the stars shone bright above the palace, their hands still joined, they looked toward the future. A future where humans and Canary would walk together, side by side. The galaxy was changing, and in their union, hope was born.